did not see that coming. I'm just really appreciating the Jax content. Can I just say that? Go back in time to have a second chance with, are you kidding me? Like, I'm all in now. Thank you very much. It's just like your typical Jax thing. He makes you think that he's in love with you, and then he's like, why did you trust me? I told you to never trust me. And then it ends there. Hi guys, welcome back, or welcome to the channel. My name is Story. I have randomly forgotten my intro because I don't film as much as I used to, so sorry. But welcome to the vlog. It is going to be a reading vlog for the second book in the, I don't even know what the series is called at this point, but the new Caraval book. I would say it just came out today. I would love to say that since I did pre-order this book, but we are 3 days late because for some reason the pre-order of these books specifically comes 3 days late. I think it's just like a Flatiron thing. That's the publisher, because last year this happened. I was really upset about that and a couple other things. I will link the vlog for the first book down below. Of course, if you're watching this vlog, you probably would want to watch that vlog as well. It is a very long vlog though. I had a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings. So this year I didn't do a release day vlog for this one. I didn't do any other Caraval or Caraval videos, but I did just meet Stephanie Garber, so I will throw up some pictures on the screen here of when I met her. It wasn't even an event for her, it was an event for Isabel Ibanez, I think is how you say her last name. And she was just really lovely. I'll talk more about it in the video if you would like me to. But I do not want this to be a negative vlog like last year, or at least I don't want to start it out on a negative note. So we're going to unbox this pre-order, and I'm super excited because it is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. Am I even in focus? Oh my gosh, so sorry if I wasn't in focus that entire time. That's probably really annoying. Alright, we got the packing slip. We got a couple Barnes & Noble things. And here she is. How beautiful is that? Can you even see it? Oh my gosh. Absolutely stunning. I love purple. Purple is one of my favorite colors, so I was super excited that this one was going to be purple. I knew it would be too. When they were kind of revealing it, I just knew it was going to be purple because the last one was pink. For some reason there's dots all over the page. I think that's just a part of the design. And I got a purple signature. Aren't the purple signatures a special signature? I now have every Caraval book signed. All of my Caraval books are signed now. Oh my god, I keep going out of focus. I'm so sorry. But she kindly signed all of my books whenever I met her. Oh, we got a new map. I don't know if you guys can even see that. Try to pan it around. Hopefully it's in focus. But we got a new map. Wow, that's super detailed. In Marywood for this one. I love that the text is so big. Oh my gosh. And then I believe there's a special chapter at the end. I won't show the content so I don't spoil anyone. But look at that, it's a Jax chapter. Honestly, if you want to read the Jax chapter and you don't have the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, just DM me and I'll send you the pictures. I'm sure the publisher doesn't want me to do that, but you know. I waited 3 days for this freaking book once again, and they've came out with several editions like they did once again. We all know how I felt during the first vlog, or maybe not all of us know, but I have a lot of feelings and I want to keep this not as negative. I have a feeling I'm going to really like this book actually, because when I did meet her, her and Isabel both said that there's a lot of Jax content in this second one, which is literally all I want because there was no Jax content in the first one. Look at that, can you see it? Wow. I did not give the first book a good rating. I think I gave it 2.5 was my official rating. Really disappointed in that book. It's nothing like the Caraval series in my opinion, so I have really high hopes for this one. If it is also a letdown, I may not be continuing the series. I don't know. Jax is one of my favorite characters of all time, and so that's why I was especially disappointed with the first one. So I don't know. I just feel like with the last one, it felt like this specific series was almost ruining his character for me. So I have high hopes for this one, and I haven't been reading anything for the past few days so that I can start this ASAP. I'm probably going to start it tonight. So yes, hopefully this book is much better, and I have a much better experience than the first one, but I don't want this vlog to be as long as the last one. I'm gonna cut it off here and of course start updating you since I will start reading this. Alright, so here's a little Maymolu in the background, but before I sign off, I wanted to show you guys the special hardcover you get when you order the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I have my books on it right now because this one came damaged, unfortunately, along with last year's. But here it is. As you can see, it's damaged. I've had it on, I've had the book set up here for a few days, but as you can see on this side, Evangeline's side, it's pretty damaged. It's water damage. The first one's special edition is damaged as well, but so we don't have any hints for this one, but also the first one we got didn't make any sense because it showed Evangeline as a like magical character and she's not, she's just a human. So I really do like it. I love this whole like cotton candy theme they've been doing, and this looks very fairy tale-esque. Like usually she looks very fairy tale-esque, but he does it, but this whole side does too. All right, sorry if it's a little loud out here. I live by a highway, but I just got done with chapter 7, so I'm on chapter 8 of Ballad. I'm just gonna call it Ballad for short. This is what the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition looks like without the dust jacket. I have no idea if you can see that, but it says the rise and fall of the Valors, beloved first royal family of the magnificent North. So I thought this was going to be an actual book that is within the story like it was for the first one, so we'll see if this is the case. I can't really tell. My theory, of course, is that Evangeline is a Valor. Her real name is Evangeline Valor. Makes sense because it just like kind of goes together. But like I said, I just finished chapter 7, so just found out that Prince Lucien is Luce, which is the original love interest for Evangeline, the one that she had planned to marry and Marisol took from her, and Jax, you know, cursed her for the first time. Still a vampire, and he is now taking the throne, acting like a prince, or so Evangeline thinks. Luce says that he actually is a distant relative, but she doesn't believe that. She thinks that chaos is behind it. I think maybe Marisol is behind it. I don't know. We'll see, but sorry it's so loud. I will not come out here again. It's getting to be fall, so I'm just trying to read outside while I still can. Anyways, I wish that Evangeline would have done something about Marisol because I still hate her. I think I'm always gonna hate her, and I'm always gonna be annoyed that Evangeline protects her. I guess Evangeline is just like an actual good person and just like cannot do wrong. But at the very end of the chapter it said that Apollo appeared and that he seems fully awake. I don't know if I believe that. We'll see what happens next. But yeah, that's kind of like the first big thing, I guess. Big like change within the story. There's another curse being placed on Evangeline and Apollo as well, so I just feel like he's not going to be awake and it's actually the curse or something like that. But I'm very surprised Luce or Lucien is now in the story along with everyone else, because I thought there wasn't a point to his character at all in the first book, but now it makes sense if he's actually going to be in the story. But I feel like it's going to be a love square if she has like 3 love interests actually, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be a love interest. I honestly hope that him and Marisol end up together so that they just like leave and never come back, because I don't really like either of them. Hey guys, so I'm not doing the best at filming while reading this, so I'm trying to do better, but I think I'm about like 40% of the way through the book now, and I'm just like so I don't really have anything positive to say, to be honest. I'm at the part where there was just recently a bunch of vampire stuff, and I don't get the vampire shenanigans in these books. They just don't make any sense. They don't fit the world. If someone were to tell me that vampires were introduced to the Carval world, I'd be like, what? No, like it just doesn't make sense. But for this series specifically, it's supposed to be very like whimsical, magical, very like fairy tale-esque. In my opinion, I don't think the vampire parts just mesh well with what's going on in this world. Very lighthearted and whimsical. Vampires are just like the opposite. It's like dark fantasy, and I don't know. Personally, I feel like it's a bit of a cop-out just to like fix problems, because vampire venom can heal you, so it feels like anytime someone gets hurt or they die, they're just going to have a vampire bite them so that they can be healed, because that's what Jax literally just did with Evangeline. Excuse my dog. So I'm just not a fan, to be honest. The only fates that have been introduced so far in the series is Chaos and Lala. I like Lala, I don't mind her, although I do feel like she's very similar to Jax, to be honest. The unwed bride, she can never find the love of her life, like she's doomed. It's basically like a female Jax. And then we have Chaos who is just a vampire. So I definitely thought the fates would be more involved and we would discover how Jax ends up as a fate. It would be much better in my opinion to have a Jax prequel than like a Jax sequel. Like with all of this, I just roll my eyes at the vampire parts. And then now Apollo is awake, but he is hunting Evangeline, and we found out that it's basically the Archer and the Fox curse, which like duh, as soon as it was happening, like they told you it was Archer and the Fox. So I don't know why they were acting like that was something that we needed to discover in that moment. But we did find out that Evangeline isn't the only key to the Valoria Arch. There is another key as well, so that's different. I didn't expect that one, and it does make things, you know, more exciting and mysterious. So I'm, I guess, intrigued with that. I'm just like, I'm sorry, but I'm just so bored. I'm just gonna keep reading and hope for better, hope that the second half of the book is gonna get better, but I don't know. I just feel like we've kind of jumped into everything too, like nothing from the last book has been explained much. I don't know, guys, I'm sorry. I know Carvel fans like want this to be a good review, but so far I'm just not feeling it, so I'm hoping it's gonna get better, but I just really wish there wasn't the vampire shenanigans, to be honest, and I wish there was more like love and tension between Jax and Evangeline. Like, you see all this fan art and it's like, for what? Evangeline hates Jax. She hates him. There's not even an inkling, like an inkling of love for him, you know? And although he tries and he protects her, he puts off this front that he doesn't like her either. So I'm not getting the whole lovey-dovey fan art for this. Like, it was different for Caraval because it actually made sense. Like, at least Tella and Jax together were like this love that was doomed and fell so hard for each other and loved each other. Yeah, it was like this actual forbidden love, whereas this time they really do not like each other. So I'm hoping for it to be hate to love, but I mean, I'm halfway through or almost halfway through the second book and I'm just not getting the Jax content I want. So I am praying that I'm gonna get the Jax content I am looking for. They told me at the signing when I met Stephanie Garber that I would, so I feel like it's kind of promised at this point. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep reading and hope for the best, the better. Hope for better. I think I'm like 50% through now. We are at the part where the beginning of her going to this ball and she convinces Jax to. She now has access to this library and she starts reading a book that of course just keeps changing, so all the mystery can just stay a mystery, of course, but she sees that Jax was a part of the Merrywood 3, or at least the book that keeps changing said that for a minute, and immediately Jax is like, you can't trust anything those books say, none of that's true. I'm not a part of the Merrywood 3, blah, 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 blah. But really, we know that Jax like never tells the truth, so I do think he is a part of the Merrywood 3, I just don't know which one he is. My guess is that he is the Archer, the original Archer from the Ballad of the Archer and the Fox, because that was my theory, if you remember, if you watched my first vlog. Obviously, Evangeline's last name is Fox, and Jax calls her Little Fox. So I think maybe it's like some sort of bloodline thing where her ancestor or whatever was the original Fox and he's the original Archer, and he's been trying to get this bloodline to open the Valoria Arch for forever. I think that Evangeline is a part of the Valors, which I've had all these theories since when I read the first book. If you didn't see that vlog, I'll put it in a card up here if you want to watch it after this one, or before. I would recommend watching that one first, I guess. The publisher shared a reel of people basically crying, like reacting to the book. Apparently something really big happens, and I was promised that something really big would happen, so I'm really interested and really excited now. My friend here that reads the Carval series isn't even picking up this book actually because she's just afraid it's not going to be good since she didn't like the first one either. So fingers crossed, I'm halfway there and it's honestly been a struggle. I'm trying so hard to get through it so that I can read Kingdom of the Feared, which is the third book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series that just came out. Like, I love that series. All right, ignore my face. I don't have any makeup on, and no, if you can see the little dot under my eye, it's not a black eye. People ask me that all the time. I literally just popped a blood vessel like right underneath my eye like a year or two ago, so every time I don't have makeup on, people ask me if I have a black eye, but no, it just like kind of randomly happened. But I have read a lot of this, and so I'm going to try to remember my thoughts for different parts, but I'm like 85% probably through. I'm not really sure about percentages ever, but I'm on part 3, so there's 3 parts to it, and this literally is like 5 chapters left, so I'm literally towards the end. To catch up with myself, I did really like the chapter where Jax and Evangeline go to the Slaughterwood Castle for Lala's engagement party. There's a lot of characters there that we don't know, and they're on the hunt for these stones. Yeah, it was a really fun chapter because we have our 3 kind of main characters besides like Apollo, and then we're just meeting all these other people that are magical and are a part of these different famous ancient families that are a part of, you know, this folklore of this place. I can 100% say that the second half of this book is far better than the first half of this book. This first half was a lot like the first book for me, just really bland and boring and didn't know where it was going, and I was just like drifting off while reading it. It's been so different. The start of this weekend, it is Sunday. I was at 50% and now I'm at 85, and I am going to finish this tonight. So I'm not going to say, you know, it's a 5-star read and I absolutely love it, but I have been enjoying it more than the first half for sure. So a lot of stuff happened at the Slaughterwood Castle. Basically, Jax goes into this secret corridor with a girl. I thought he was trying to get one of the stones from the girl, trying to use his, you know, charm to get this stone, but he wasn't. So I was like, oh, okay. Basically, later on, Evangeline figures out that Glendora has the, I think at the time she thinks it's the Mirth Stone, but it ends up being one of the other stones. So she gets that, and Luce keeps popping up. He's popping up so much that I feel like he's going to be more involved in the story than I thought he would be. He's definitely wanting to bite Evangeline, which is not good, but she's like giving into him a lot. I don't know, he's definitely just like slowly trickling into the story where I did not think he was going to be a part of the story much at all. Excuse my mess of a closet, by the way. I forgot that that was even the shot. We got a lot going on in this area. But anyways, way more stuff happens. We find out that Lala is the one that put the curse on Evangeline and Apollo. I was very surprised just because I haven't really been theorizing anything with Lala or theorizing really who put the curse on them because I just didn't care. Lala did that because she wants Evangeline to open the Valoria Arch just as much as Jax, so now that's a big mystery. And so of course my mind started theorizing as I always do. So I can't remember what I said in my last clip, but I still have a feeling that Jax is the archer. When this happened, I thought maybe him and Lala are brother and sister, even though they look nothing alike. So immediately I thought that they could be the Valors. I still do think Evangeline is a Valor though, and that would be weird if she was related to Jax. I think it'd be cool if she was related to Lala, like that was her sister or her mother or something, but it's gonna be really weird if she's related to Jax. It's gonna be like kind of gross. So then my mind started thinking, well, what if Jax is a Merrywood, and so that means Lala is a Merrywood too, and they're brother and sister. I don't know why I was so hooked on like I think they're family, because they're just too close, and they're both fates, and they both have like a similar like fate condition type of thing, and I don't know, I think they just come from like a really sad past, and that if they're not just friends, I think they're like cousins or siblings or something like that, but they don't look anything alike. So that's kind of just like a theory. Now that I've read a little more, I think I'm gonna stick with the fact that they are Merrywoods. I think that Evangeline is still a Valor. That's never going to go away. I think Jax is the archer, but I think he is a Merrywood, and I think Lala is his sister. So that's what I'm sticking with right now. Anyways, Evangeline's really upset because of this, and so she's gonna go leave, but then there's still a costume party, and she gets tangled up with Petra, which is a new character we just learned of. She has moonlight hair, as they say, and she lures Evangeline into another like secret tunnel. Which, did anyone else know exactly what was going on? Like as soon as she was luring her into someplace, and Evangeline is just like, let's be honest, she's a very dumb main character. Like she's very gullible, very immature, very hopeful, will trust anyone, and so you can always assume that Evangeline is going to get herself into all this nonsense, and then Jax is kind of like her savior. Someone comes and saves her, whether it's Jax, Apollo, Luce. Like, she's always a damsel in distress, and I'm not even gonna get into that because it annoys me so much. It's so much different from Tella and Scarlet. We find out that Petra has rose gold hair, and she is also a key, except once she found the youth stone, she became crazy. She didn't want to let go of it, so that's kind of what the stones do to them. And then Evangeline kills her, which I guess I didn't really expect that to happen, but yeah, that happened. And so now Evangeline, at least at this point, is the only key and needs to get all the stones, but she needed the stone from Petra anyways. I definitely do like the whole journey of finding the stones. It feels very Harry Potter to me. It feels very Deathly Hallows. Of course, I said in my first vlog that I thought this was inspired a lot by Harry Potter, and I'm still sticking to that. There's like a prophecy or a destiny. They're in a magical northern cold place. She's the chosen one. They're going on a hunt to find these stones she needs in order to fulfill her destiny. It just feels very Harry Potter-esque. And the fact that we're learning about these families and their past together, it just feels even more Harry Potter to me too. But next, Jax takes Evangeline to the Hollow, or the Traveler's Inn. We also find out more about what happened at Marywood Manor, and chose not go over that because I still think that no matter what this book is trying to convince you, I think Jax is the archer. I think it wanted you to think that he was Caster Valor for a little bit. Later on, when she's at the bed and breakfast type of place, someone carved Aurora and Jax. And so part of me thinks that just helps to know that Evangeline is a Valor, that she came from Aurora. So I think Aurora could be her real mother, or it could be her grandmother. And maybe Jax was in cahoots with her. I was thinking Aurora Valor's true love might be Jax, which was the archer, and the story nowadays, since stories change and stuff, is that she was in love with Lyric Merrywood, but that also could mean that he is Lyric Merrywood, and I would be right about him being a Merrywood, or he's just the archer and he still is a Merrywood. I hope this all makes sense at this point. But whenever Evangeline reads Aurora's diary, she sees that Aurora is in love with Lala's brother, and Lala is in love with Aurora's brother, and neither of them think they are right for their brothers. That just sparked my theory even more. I was like, oh my gosh, Aurora is in love with Jax, and Jax is Lala's brother. I think Lala was just in love with Caster Valor, because that would make so much sense, I think. Or Lala is just a Merrywood and Lyric is her brother, and then maybe Aurora was just in love with Lala's brother and it's not Jax. But I kind of think they're siblings, to be honest. I don't know. She can heal there. Basically, she can heal really fast there and no curses affect anyone there. So then she gets the idea that maybe Jax's curse doesn't apply there, so she can kiss him. And she's just falling more and more for Jax, and I'm here for it because the first book was not focused on Jax really at all. I feel like he was like a fourth of the book, and we've gotten so much Jax content. We really haven't learned a lot about him because every time we get a hint to his past, he just says it's a lie or it's not real. Literally, Stephanie Garber teased the apple thing like towards the beginning of this book. I was so upset. I was like, okay, we're gonna figure out the apple thing in the third book, I think, unless it's at the very end of this book. But I'm just really appreciating the Jax content. Can I just say that? I think that's why I'm reading it nonstop, or reading it by chapter to chapter, because I'm reading about one of my favorite characters finally. When he does leave, like, she's not really doing anything with other people. It's just kind of waiting for him to come back, and he comes back pretty fast, and so I'm really happy about it. I'm just very happy how much more he is in this story. I think Stephanie Garber did a really good job, like, actually writing him into the story more and getting rid of annoying characters like her sister. And even like Apollo's not in this very much. Even with Luce showing up a couple times, he's not in it much. Tiberius is in it one time. So we're getting like the good stuff, the characters we actually like, you know what I mean? Try to wrap it up here. I just feel really bad that I have vlogged so much about parts I didn't like of this book, and now I'm actually enjoying it, and I'm reading it so fast that I'm not vlogging, of course. But there is a mysterious handsome stranger visiting her in her dreams, and I thought it was the guy she met at the party, because she said that he had dark hair, eyes, and skin, which is the same guy she met at that party, and I can't even remember what his name was. But that's when her and Jax were getting really jealous because of the youth stone, I think. That's what I thought immediately. And then Lala ends up coming into her dreams to tell her to get away from Jax, and that they're both being affected by the Mirth Stone, because that's when they start like growing closer at the end. I just like didn't want it to stop, but of course it's gonna have to stop because it's just the stones, it's not them. Whatever. It's just like your typical Jax thing where he makes you think that he's in love with you, and then he's like, why did you trust me? I told you to never trust me, type of thing that I just, you know, I just live for. I just love it. A handsome stranger, she said it was his fault they were in this mess, so that means he's probably either Lyric Merrywood, Castor Valor, or Vengeance Slaughterwood. So there's a lot of like characters we know of from the past now that aren't actually there, that are just spoken about, and honestly it's actually pretty easy to keep track of everything, I think, just because I'm theorizing so much and I'm so invested in it right now at this moment. So I don't really have a theory of who the guy is. I just know it's gonna be one of those people, and it could be like her dad, you know, it could be like her grandpa, like it could be a Valor, like someone she's related to. I don't know, maybe she's a Merrywood. I don't know. In my heart I feel like she's a Valor, but she could be, I don't know. I think she's a Valor and Jack's a Merrywood, or it could be switched. I don't want to make it sound like I've enjoyed it completely and there's no like faults to it, because it still does feel very like immature, I guess, and just very, I don't know, I'm not really liking the writing, to be honest, either. I haven't really liked it this whole book, same as the first one, but you know, I do love the quick chapters, and I do like how things happen quickly, even if the writing or what's happening is kind of immature, or the characters are immature. I'm just soaking up all this Jax content. It always leaves on a cliffhanger, so then you want to read the next one, and I'm just really excited to find out about the past and like how everything intertwines. And oh yeah, we found out that Jax doesn't even want to open the Valori Arch, that he just wants the stones. So now it's like, okay, what does he want the stones for? That's the big question now, and I have talked way too long, so I'll see you guys in the next clip. I've officially finished The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. Second book in the, I don't even know what this series is called. Have they even given it a name? I guess Once Upon a Broken Heart series, or Broken Heart series. I did vlog my reactions to the end of this book. If you've already read it, you already know what I'm talking about. So as I get to explaining the end of this book, I'll insert those clips. I'm kind of all over the place, to be honest, because I don't have makeup on. I'm really tired. I read the entire last half of this book over the weekend, so that's just the type of reader I am. I am a second half reader. It takes me forever to get through the first half, especially if I don't like it. In this case, I didn't really like the first half of this book, to be honest, because it was a lot like the first one, which I didn't like at all, but it really picked up there halfway, and it was just pure Jax content, basically, the second half of this book. So obviously I was really happy, and I just ate it up. I couldn't stop. I got real confused during the end with like the epilogue and all that. And then I, of course, have the edition where it has the Jax chapter at the end, so of course I read that. But those special chapters are always like 3 pages long. They're not really chapters, they're like half chapters. So if you're wanting to buy these editions just for the extra content, like honestly don't, just get the normal edition, because you're not missing anything. There's no spoilers or anything like that. So I do appreciate that the publisher didn't black out the spoilers though this time. They just gave us the chapter without blacking out half of the content. That didn't make any sense to me, the last book. Since I read this so fast, I had to take notes because it was getting pretty hectic. So I started at the part where Jax and Evangeline were going back to Chaos's, and I just felt like it was super jumpy. Like, for some reason, the writing is just so all over the place. It almost feels like the author just can't write the in-between scenes, like the transitions, basically. I'm just guessing she's just not good at writing transitions, so she just jumps to wherever she wants to. So basically, in one sentence they were knocking on the door, in the next sentence Apollo is waking her up. When Stephanie Garber wants it to be nighttime or when she's sleeping, it just goes straight to that. Or maybe her publisher just cuts it out because it's stuff that's not important, but it's definitely all over the place if you're reading it. So Apollo basically tries to kill her again, and then we find out that the reason that Jax wants the stones is because he wants to go back in time to have a second chance with Tella. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm all in now. Thank you very much. Tella and Jax is like my all-time fave, obviously, and I've always thought Jax and Tella were in game and Evangeline was gonna be in game with Apollo. Her and Apollo would be in game. I'm thinking differently now, so I'll get to that in a bit. but my heart just literally stopped. I'm pretty sure I filmed the reaction to this. This literally made my heart stop. But this means that Eva and Jax would never know each other, so she'll forget him. And now she's realizing, okay, I really do like this guy. I don't want to forget him. And she's willing to do whatever. She doesn't even care about the Valoria Arch anymore. She wants to do whatever she can to be with Jax now, which is so just crazy. It's like she spent so much time with Jax that it's more like a proximity thing now. Like she's just super into him. Jax is the archer, no duh. So obviously this is my theory from the beginning of the first book. I feel like it's a pretty obvious, like predictable thing. So let me know if you predicted this as well. I mean, it just made sense. He had to be the archer. It just, the moment she talks about the Ballad of the Archer and the Fox in the beginning of the first book, it's like, okay, Evangeline is the fox and Jax is the archer. But even during this book, I'm just thinking the entire time he's the archer. So I don't know if they wanted that to be like a plot twist or whatever, but it definitely is not. He broke the curse but killed the fox when he kissed her. So we know that there was an original fox before Evangeline, and it turns out that Jax didn't kill her because of the curse. He was able to overcome it because he loved her so much. But then he kissed her and she died because his kiss is fatal, obviously. So I don't know if that was the moment he turned into a Fate. I'm gonna assume so. So we finally do get Jax's backstory. We finally know who he was before Fate. I'm really interested now. Hopefully in the next book we find out like when that actually happened, that transition whenever he turned into a Fate, and then like what happened directly after. Chaos is the monster the Valor's created, but he just wants to remove the helmet. I thought this was brilliantly done because I did not predict this at all. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. I did not predict this at all. I did not think Chaos was going to be the monster. I really wonder who put the helmet on him though, if the Valors didn't. I don't think it was mentioned. But of course they opened the Valoria Arch and the Valors are in the Valori, so they actually were locked up there. I'm gonna assume they created the Valori and then the Great Houses tricked them into going in. So there was this once big battle between the Valors and the Great Houses. So we're gonna see a lot of like political chaos, I think, in the next book, and I am so here for it. I hope the next book is much longer too. I hope it's like at least 400 pages, maybe like 500 pages. I think that would be really cool. Chaos is Caster Valor, who the Valors turned into a vampire to save him, I guess. So basically when Vengeance came and killed everyone, the Valors tried to save Caster by turning him into a vampire basically. And then he was literally just chaotic. Had to have the helmet put on him so that he would stop killing people. Honora takes the helmet off and then he bites Evangeline, so I did not see that coming. Like even thinking about it going up to it, I did not think one time that Chaos would obviously be able to bite a human and then Evangeline would be the only human around. I didn't think about that at all. It seems kind of stupid for Jax to not go with them, and obviously he regrets that later. Jax tries to save her but says she feels nothing. At this point I was like, oh my god. Either I was like, there's a little bit of, you know, there's some pages left. It said the end, so I was really confused. It was not the end. So they really shouldn't have done that to us. That shouldn't have been okay. Because can you really say it's the end if it's not the end? You know what I mean? Because it definitely wasn't the end. There were 2 more chapters after that. So that was a little weird. But I was real confused at that point. Jax used the stones to save Evangeline. So now we're seeing that time loop. Just like Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Once again, I am connecting the dots with this series and Harry Potter. I just think Stephanie Garber got the prophecy and the chosen one trope from Harry Potter, and she's just taking all of these things from Harry Potter and just making her own little world with the same tropes and things happening. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. I kind of wish she just would have went the Fate route. Like, I don't understand with this whole, you know, new character that's a prophecy, and I get that it involves Jax, so you can discover more about Jax and stuff, but I'm really confused why she didn't go the Fate route or even like a prequel Fate route. Instead, she just came up with this new chosen one prophecy trope and is copying a lot of Harry Potter stuff. So when we go back in time, which I loved because this is my favorite, Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite Harry Potter book, and that is my favorite part when they go back in time. Evangeline leaves, but then goes back and Apollo appears. So Jax is successful in the fact that he gets Evangeline to not go into the Valoria Arch to see what happens. So it's kind of cool because now the reader knows about it, but she doesn't, and I love irony like that when that happens. But she goes back and Apollo comes out of the arch. which is so random because why would he be there? Like, we have no idea, so now we have to figure out what's going on there. But then he erases all her memories, and she doesn't want it to happen. She is not consenting to this at all. But he does. He erases all her memories, even memories of him. It's like he wanted her to forget all about the Valori and the Valor stuff, so she had to forget about Jax, and in order to forget about Jax, she had to forget about him and the North and just literally everything. So this next book is going to be wild because all her memories are gone, and I think there's going to be a lot of political chaos in this world. Hopefully we finally learn those last clues about Jax, you know, when he actually became a Fate, why he has to eat the apples, and all that nonsense. And hopefully things with him and Tella can wrap up a bit too. I would love if Tella and Scarlet were in the third book. Oh my god, that'd be amazing. I also wrote, since when is he magic? Apollo has never been magic, right? Did I just forget about that? But I thought he was just like a royal, I thought he was just like a prince. I didn't think he had any magic. Now she's forgotten everything, and he tells her that they're married, and then it ends there. So we don't see Jax anymore after that point either. So that's kind of all of it, and I don't really know how I feel, to be honest, but I really enjoyed the second half of this book because it's just a ton of Jax content. Of course, he's my favorite character. So I can't decide if I'm giving this a 3.5 or a 4. At this point, I feel like a 4, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and round up on the Goodreads rating. But I don't know, the first half was like 1 star or 2 stars, and the second half was probably 5 stars, so I'm trying to do it kind of in the middle, and so it doesn't really make sense to give it a 4, to be honest. But yeah, I'm gonna decide my rating after I post this video. So if you're not following me already, my Goodreads is @Storybook. But let me know what you thought down below. If you've already read this, if you're a Caraval girly, of course, like this video. If you like this series, or you know, whatever, I don't know, I'm lost for words right now. I just finished all this last night, so I have a big book hangover. But yeah, please subscribe if you haven't already, if you feel like it, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.